Hi guys, Asim here. A little voice note before the episode starts, and I love doing these. We had Matt and Erin on from the Bollywood is for Lover podcast. You should check out their podcast if you're not. If you're a first-time listener of Khandaan Podcast, you can go to khandaanpodcast.com and check out all of our other podcasts. Subscribe to both podcasts and leave us a review for both podcasts too. That would be amazing. This was such a long conversation. We had to kind of split it up in half. So the Doom 3 review will be on the next episode, which will be uploading in a couple of days. And so this is just part one about the stuff we watched and just generally how it feels to be about podcasting in Bollywood. So I hope you guys enjoy it. It's fun as it always is, and it's tons of content, tons of laugh. And I'll catch you guys later to remind you that there's another episode coming in a few days. Thanks for listening. Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan Podcast by the You Podcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
Great. We're all set to go.
I have to tell you, Erin didn't clap. It was all me.
It was all me.
I didn't want to mess it up. I thought only one of us needed to clap. You know I have no rhythm.
Yeah, sorry to write you out there, baby.
We haven't even started the podcast and we are already on melodrama level like this.
Yeah. The first betrayal has already occurred.
This is like a Race 3 podcast suddenly, like betrayal upon betrayal.
Yeah. What you didn't know is I betrayed you all 4 years ago, and it's only now coming to fruition.
This podcast is brought to you by Abbas Mustan.
But yeah, no, this is great. This is I had like a warm up call with Matt and Erin, and we ended up talking like 40 minutes or something like that because we have so much things to talk about together. But the one point I was making is this is like the Avengers Endgame of Bollywood podcasting. Like, you know, Bollywood is for lovers and Khandaan coming together. You know, like this is it. This is what people have been waiting for.
It's that scene, is it Commando or Predator, when Carl Weathers and Arnold Schwarzenegger meet in the bar and they're like, "You son of a bitch," and grab each other's hands.
Yeah, the bicep handshake thing.
Yeah. That's Predator.
Predator, right. Yeah. Great movie.
Welcome, Matt and Erin from Bollywood is for Lovers. Like, this is amazing. Like, we have all of us together on a podcast. Yay!
Yeah, we finally did it. We've been talking about it for years.
We have, and I think the last time I was on your podcast for Judua, and then this is like after that. I think we started Khandaan just after Judua came out, and so yeah,
it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's I think
wow.
How long the podcast has been running. But again, nobody has any sense of time or space anymore, you know, so... Yeah. But also...
Could be 3 minutes ago.
Congratulations on hitting 1 million listeners. Like, how cool is that?
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's crazy. It's a lot of GeoSavan downloads every day. And those, you can't really like point to them and say like, "Oh, that is a real person." But,
my mom says she's half of them. Yeah. She's very committed.
Erin's mother's very quick on the trigger with downloading.
And then she just re-downloads and re-downloads and re-listens. She can't get enough.
Yeah, we need to get our moms involved, guys. Like, we're not gonna hit 1 million otherwise.
Yeah.
My mom actually has listened to like 3 episodes, but it's because my brother has played them for her in car trips. Yeah. And then she got very mad at us when we mentioned in an episode that we didn't think that she would like a movie or she wouldn't watch a movie. So then she watched movies out of spite, and then she really liked them.
Yeah.
That's how you make your parents.
She tried to watch Airlift and turned it off halfway through.
Yeah, Airlift isn't the most exciting movie.
Yeah, understandable.
She liked Dangal and Dil Dhadakne Do. She loved Kahani.
Yeah. Those are good movies. She's got some good sense to turn off Airlift and love Kahani. I mean, that makes sense to me.
Well, she loved Nimrat Kaur after The Lunchbox, so she wanted to see more movies with her in them. And I was like, well, here's Airlift.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could have just shown her Homeland, she's in that too.
Oh,
Well, yeah, she's already watched that.
Yeah. Okay.
And that Gunjan Saxena thing that we talked about, she's in that too, right? Like the.
Oh, really?
Is she?
No, you didn't you mention it? Like last time you were watching
it's
a
not.
teaser?
No, it's not Gunjan Saxena. It's a whole other series.
Okay, yeah, pre Gunjan. I don't know details.
Is it another fighter pilot thing?
No, it's a military. It's like a web series about this woman who's the first to be selected in this sort of super special commando unit, and nobody wants her there because she's an icky girl, and girls have cooties. And then they go out into the forest on maneuvers or something, and she gets sexually assaulted. But then the rest of the series is about her not making a personal complaint, but trying to deal with it herself. And yeah. That's what
does she kill the guy or what?
I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I don't think I finished the series actually, so I don't know exactly how it ends.
The series is called The Test Case, by the way.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Oh. Huh.
But she was really good in it.
We have not watched a lot of these movies that are debuting on Prime and Amazon yet. We watched Gulabo Sitabo, but we're saving the rest of those for the year-end thing because there's so many of them right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What did you think of Gulabo Sitabo?
I felt like if you told me that this was a a beloved TV show that had been on for 50 years and these characters, you watch the landlord and the renter just kind of screwing each other over, and that's the whole TV show, I would have believed you.
It would have been a good sitcom.
Yeah, it would be a great sitcom. As a movie, I thought it was okay. I think Seeing Lucknow looked pretty cool. The locations were great, but Amitabh's character was a little one note. I think he says...
That's being very kind.
I think half of the lines he says in the movie are my building. Or what, my mansion? Whatever he says. He's always just... This one thing is he's got his building.
Yeah. I'm glad we're on the same page with that movie because it didn't work for me, and now I'm looking back. It came out a couple of months ago, and I still don't have any positive feelings about that movie. I don't know why they made it. So, but yeah. But I think we think a lot along the lines, and I think you also got to choose the movie of this episode, and that's you guys chose Doom 3, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful movie. I have no idea why people don't like this movie. And I'm not even joking. This movie is fun. It's very, very fun, and
it's so fun.
Shot really well. It's stupid, but I've watched lots of Hindi movies that have stupid plots. So, I'm going to need some convincing to find out why this is bad.
Can I confess here, before we even start, I'd like to confess that I've been making fun of this movie for years, and I actually had never watched it because I didn't.
What? That is so on brand.
I wouldn't pay for a Doom 3 with Ahmed. I'm sorry. It's I work for my money. I'm not going to throw it on that.
That's complaining about the government when you didn't vote.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also loved it, right? Once you finally watched it?
No! What the
Damn.
All I'd ever seen were the songs and various clips from it. And I have to say, whoever clipped it for YouTube, they did a very good job because they got all the relevant bits. I was oh yeah, I know what's happening.
It's not a complicated story.
No. let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, this is the first Hindi movie I saw in theaters because we'd seen some in university, but that was Mother India and Erin saw Dilse in university. But this is the first big popular blockbuster type movie I saw, and I was hooked right away. I was you'll laugh now, but I was legitimately surprised that there were two Amir Khans. This was like mind-blowing to me. Like, what? He's a twin? And then like, oh yeah, The Prestige. Yeah, okay, I get it now. But like, it was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, we had such a fun time when we went to go see this in theaters. And it's really the film that encouraged us to watch more Bollywood and to engage more with Indian cinema and just to explore more. And so I think that's why we have such a huge fondness for it. And rewatching it, I was like, oh, is it going to hold up? And I think it totally does hold up.
Yeah.
So,
I had so much fun.
I think the other reason you guys also picked Dhoom 3 is because you and me, we're all part of we're like esteemed members of the Katrina Kaif fan club, right? So
yeah.
Day one members.
I just imagine like going to watch your first Bollywood movie in theaters and seeing Katrina Kaif. I can understand that you fell in love with Bollywood. Like she's the best part of this movie. Like, insane. But I think
it was a bit of a letdown afterwards. Cause it's like, oh yeah, she's amazing. She must be in a bunch more movies, huh? Oh wait, because at that time, like the Katrina Kaif Renaissance kind of comes from this. But when we go back and watch some of her earlier ones, like, she's just the girl in a bunch of rom-coms. That's not that great.
Well, and it was interesting rewatching this because her role isn't even as substantial as I remembered it.
She's maybe in it for 20 minutes.
Yeah. But she makes such an impact in those 20 minutes. And it's interesting because, when we first started watching Bollywood, Dhoom 3 was... I had seen a bunch of movies beforehand that had come out that year, like Lutera and Krish 3 and some others. And so when we went to go see Dhoom 3, and I was so taken with Katrina Kaif, and I really liked her, and then as I was kind of getting more into discussions around Bollywood and Bollywood criticism, I discovered, like, oh, people don't like Katrina Kaif. Like, she has a bad accent. And I kind of internalized that. I was like, oh, okay, I shouldn't like Katrina Kaif. Good Bollywood fans who know what's good, they don't like Katrina Kaif. And I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine, a colleague who was also very into Bollywood. And I had kind of made a comment about Katrina Kaif about like, oh, I really liked her in Dhoom 3, but, maybe she doesn't have like a lot of range. Maybe she's not a great actress. And my friend was like, that is stupid. If you like her, like her. If you stan her and like champion her. And from that moment I was like, oh, that is stupid. Like, why do I have to listen to like what all these other people are saying? But it's because I was such a new fan, right? And so now I think I'm like extra excited, or like I promote her even more just because I want to beat that drum for Katrina Kaif. I think she's so good.
Yeah,
and I think she has a style of performance that I think a lot of people dismiss and a lot of people don't value, but I think it's very important because she's a very physical performer.
And what's the line?
The line, oh, Asian goddess who sings and dances like liquid electricity.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what more do you want? That's what I want out of every movie.
Yeah.
But, but she's like Keanu Reeves, who people have come around to now as well. Like, they're physical performers, and it's not really about the range that they have, but the way that they embody their characters, and also how they're entertainers. Like, movie stars are also entertainers.
Well, like, what other female star in Hindi cinema could be John Wicking guys, like in Tiger Zinda Hai? I can't think of one.
Exactly.
Like, she's just destroying guys, breaking their necks, shooting them, just like John Wick. And she's just trained herself so well to be this physical, like, juggernaut.
Yeah, and she's also an excellent comedian.
Yeah, she's also very funny.
Yeah.
And just like Keanu Reeves, she's breathtaking.
Yes,
yes, totally.
Yeah, I had to go for that.
Yeah. So this is basically now the Katrina Kaif fandom podcast, and but I fear that we might lose Amrita and Sujoy at this point. So,
I actually saw this movie, and what occurred to me was that we always make fun of Katrina for being a bad actor, but she has been selling being in love with all these pingu Khan uncles for the past 6-7 years, and I don't think she gets enough credit for that.
I have a specific point in Dhoom 3, but I want to get that when we actually start talking about Dhoom 3 when we get into the review. But I totally agree with you. But Sujoy, I wanted to ask you, you went to TENET, and Matt and Erin, you both went, or just Matt went?
Just Erin went.
Oh, it's just Erin. How was it,
Staying
Matt?
in my house forever, I think. I'm never leaving.
I was having the same discussion today. Like, should we go? Should we not go? And I kind of want to go, but it's... Yeah, how did you deal with that, Sujoy? Like, that fear of dying for a movie?
Oh, dear. I don't know. I thought that the spoilers would come out sooner than I expected, but people have been quite respectful, so I'm thankful for that. But it came out on Wednesday of the week that I went, and I went on the Saturday, and I tried to stay as much away from the internet, everything. But I don't know. I think movie audiences, especially now, they are more of the logical and considerate people that you might find, and they are very, very respectful regarding social distancing and all of that. It's more dangerous to go to the supermarket instead of going to the movies, and I saw that firsthand, and that made up my mind. Like, if I'm going for a movie, obviously it has to be something that needs to be seen at the cinema, and also, like, I was taking my precautions going there, and I saw that people were being considerate. And also, like, even watching it at the IMAX screen, it was almost like 20% or lesser occupied. So there was a lot of, distancing between the audiences that were seated in the cinema.
Was it on, like, every screen at the theater? Was this a multiplex?
Yeah. So there were other movies playing as well, but Tenet obviously was playing on majority of the screens.
So I was thinking about that. Like, if you had a 10-screen theater and you're showing Tenet on every screen, like, starting every 15 minutes or so, then, like, it's not that difficult to distance people.
Yeah. But for, like, picky audiences who really want to only watch it on the biggest screen, or just because a cinema screen would, which has an IMAX screen, would only have one IMAX screen. So I guess that makes it difficult then. But even then, there were, like, only maybe 30, 40 people in one IMAX screening, which is unheard of, especially for a movie like this, which is like an event movie. Tenet, if it was a normal year, it would be packed to the brim, but it isn't.
And the other advantage I imagine with an IMAX screen is that it's because it's bigger and higher, so there's probably like more air or air circulation. Like, I don't know how this virus works, but I just think like going big might be a good idea. Like, you need to go big and not have many people in the theater. Yeah. Right? Like, that's probably the best way. Because I was worried, like, the way they social distance, like, if somebody's sitting behind me, his gravity will work that the droplets will end up on my skull, and I don't have hair, so I would just, like, have the virus on my skull, like a cap, and I was worried about that. So, I'm very OCD about this. But, Erin, how was your experience?
Good.
Same? You guys have... did you go to a multiplex, or was it like a smaller theater, or...?
It was a much smaller theater, yes.
And
there were not many people there.
And
there's probably like 4 people there, I'm guessing. I didn't go.
Yeah.
And do you then wear masks there, or like is it like without mask? You take it off? What are the rules?
I
think you wore a mask the whole time.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because here in the UK, you don't have to, right? You can take the mask off after you've entered and you're in your position, right? That's how it works?
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, but people are wearing still. Or I mean, if they are having their beverages or eating popcorn, then definitely they take it out. But I see people like even me and others who were in the auditorium, they were like wearing their masks on during the movie.
The whole thing, yeah.
Okay. I mean, we saw Tom Cruise go to the IMAX, right? It went viral, and he was wearing his mask all the time. So
yeah.
Okay, so do you guys think that that's like propaganda for movies in general? Because like he is crazy, and the one thing you could say about him is that he loves movies a lot. That's probably the best thing you could say about Tom Cruise.
Movies and running.
Movies and running around. But like, do you think...
Yeah, those are the best things you could say.
Do you think that like Nolan hired him just say like, if Tom Cruise will go to this movie, why aren't you going to this movie, even though it is somewhat dangerous?
Except this mission.
He did it by himself.
Yeah. This mission. This
It was
impossible
cute.
mission.
It was cute. I have a lot of criticism of Tom Cruise as a human being. I like him as a movie star, but as a human being, that's another story. But I did think the whole thing was kind of cute.
Dude loves the movies.
I know.
So much. That was a weird video.
I don't know, I don't know how, I don't know, I feel like in his craziness, he's crazy, right? Like the personal stuff that he does and believes in, but he harnesses that craziness in cool ways cinematically, like who would hang from a plane, right? Like I was just watching MI fall out the other day, and it's insane. Like he climbs on the helicopter and then he drops down, and like it's an insane scene, and he just did it all by himself. But then also the other fact is, like, you can't buy him off. Like, he's so sincere and genuine. I feel he really is excited to go back to the cinema, so I don't think nobody can pay him to do something. I think he really believes probably that cinema needs to kind of open, and he has a vested interest, obviously, in it to have cinemas reopen. But I don't know. I don't know. I think people have been locked in for so long that we have so much pent up anger that we just want to lash out at everything. And I think a lot of people lashed out on that video. But I don't know. And also I feel like different countries are in different stages, and maybe your country shouldn't open up, and maybe some countries can open up, and so I think that's kind of also the difference when you have kind of a global overview and everything goes viral with social media and stuff like that. So I think it's kind of a complicated thing. Amrita, you were saying something?
No, I agree. Like, I think he just did it off his own bat because he just loves the movies that much. Yeah. And also, I'm pretty sure he thinks the virus can't touch him because he's, Zenu's special baby or whatever.
Yeah, the virus only affects your thetans, and since he's clean, he's fine.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's clear, right? Yeah, he's gone clear. You're right.
He's level, like, what level is he at? Like, it's above the virus in any case.
But consider the fact that he's essentially the pope of his own religion. Did you watch that documentary about Scientology?
Yeah.
Imagine that you're told that every single day. Like, you would just go mad with power.
Yeah.
Did you guys read that magazine article that was like an interview by Thandie Newton, where she talks about him manifesting that zit on his face in real time?
Like, his metabolism just is faster. Yeah, that was crazy.
He made a zit appear or disappear in real time? What did he do?
No, like, he had like this little spot on his face, and then during like one long night shoot, he made it like come out. And,
yeah, he acted so hard that like it just became a zit and then was over.
Wow. I trust him.
when you've got no thetans, the world is your oyster.
Oh dear.
Whiteheads don't have a chance.
Yeah. Okay. That's Xenu leaving the body.
But how was Tenet as a movie though?
I enjoyed it, but again, like it is expected of what you would expect from a Nolan movie. Like, it has all those trappings and tropes. He's playing with time, as is evident from the trailer, but also like he's increasingly getting better at shooting action. At the same time, he is increasingly getting annoying at making dialogue very hard to follow. Like, it was the one complaint that I had with Interstellar, when the sound score is so high that you can't hear Matthew McConaughey. It's even worse in Tenet, and that makes the plot even more complicated, which it should not be the case, but I guess it will get better with like when the Blu-ray is out and I can watch it with subtitles. But on the two rewatches that I've had of Tenet so far, it's enjoyable. Yeah.
You've watched
and
it twice.
And this was at the IMAX, presumably with like amazing sound, right? And it still didn't work?
It was very, very loud. Like, the soundtrack is booming and I can't hear the dialogue.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and there's a lot of performances, or there's a lot of scene where the actors have things on their faces.
Oh, they've got like the masks, right?
Yeah, so the dialogue is kind of muffled.
Again, he loves those masks. Like, I don't know what is up with that. Like, it's crazy.
I am Gotham's reckoning.
Yeah, no one's kind of doing quite that voice, but kind of the masks.
Wish if Bane showed up in every movie. I would
the masks add to a muffling of the dialogue,
Yeah.
and so it kind of can make it hard to follow.
You know, had he put subtitles on that might have like popularized them for American audiences at least. You know,
Yeah.
like there's that Bong Joon-ho thing of, you know, if you look at that
The
bottom,
1 inch.
that 1 inch at the bottom of the screen,
Yeah.
if you can get over the subtitles, there's a whole world of cinema waiting out there for you. Maybe Nolan could have just put it on there, and then people would have got used to it.
Or
Maybe
sometimes like movies have subtitles on, like, you know, there are special screenings with closed captions on, but obviously Tenet is not one of them.
But yeah, maybe that's an idea. Because I wouldn't actually mind. I like, because I grew up in Belgium, which always has subtitles anyways. Like they always have you know, the original, and then they have it in the local language subtitled. So I've been always used to them, and I never mind. And like a lot of times at night I'm watching a movie and I don't put the sound too high because I don't want to bother my daughter or my wife, and I like subtitles, so I would appreciate it. Maybe I should get a screening with, you know, for additional hearing impaired people or something like that, if you are saying that the audio is not that great. But I feel also with IMAX sometimes because the speakers are so huge that the surround sound, it happens a lot that I can't hear the dialogue because the surround is so much. So yeah.
Yeah, agreed. That's happened to me as well.
Yeah. Okay, great. Let's get into it a little bit. Like, guys, how long have you guys now been podcasting? How long has Bollywood is for Lovers started? Like, it was how many years ago?
It was about 5 years?
I think it's about 5 years
About
ago,
5
yeah.
years. I think we started in September, so...
Wow.
Yeah, we're coming up on the... Yeah, because we do a Halloween episode every year, and we're coming up on episode 6 of that, so...
Yeah.
Because I started naming them after the Halloween movies. So, yeah, just trying to think of a pun each time. But, yeah, and if you look, our Letterboxd, we have a list of every movie we've discussed, and it's getting close to about 400 now. So,
Wow.
But that includes the wrap-up episodes where we'll talk about 20, 30 movies, because we're crazy, in the middle of the year and at the end of the year. So,
Yeah, trying to remember the plot of something 6 months ago and what I thought about it.
yeah,
I don't know why anyone listens to those episodes, but they're popular.
they're very popular.
No, I've listened to them, and I know that at the end you can almost hear you guys huffing and puffing because you've watched so many movies trying to get it in
Yep.
one show.
The toughest one, I don't recommend you ever do this, but we asked for listener questions. 'cause
Oh my God.
We thought, well, it's our 100th episode. We're coming up on 1 million downloads. Maybe we can answer some listener questions. Maybe this would be fun.
And I didn't want to do it because I was like, no one's going to ask us any questions. It's going to be embarrassing. It's just going to be an exercise in making me feel bad about myself because no one likes me and no one wants to ask me questions. But the exact opposite happened.
Yeah, we had 60 questions, and me again, a little bit Tom Cruise crazy of me, was like, well, we're doing them all. We're doing it. And it was about 3 hours of recording.
And one of the questions was, did you enjoy doing this? Would you do it again? And our answer was a flat out no.
Well, there's only so many, like, a lot of people had the same question is like, how did you get into Bollywood? Or like, how do you try and get Western listeners into watching these films?
Or what are our favorite Bollywood
Or what are,
movies?
or like making lists of things? Like, what are your 15 favorite songs? Like, I don't know. 15? I don't have time for this.
We gave some songs.
We gave a few, but trying to remember those off the top of your head is difficult.
We really did appreciate all the questions. I just think it was a task that took a lot more energy than I think we were expecting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we love, like, I don't think our enthusiasm for watching Hindi films has gone down at all. In fact,
No.
going back and looking at older stuff just makes me want to do that more.
Yes.
And a year where, you know, there haven't been any cinemas open really showing Hindi stuff in our area hasn't really been a detriment because we've been able to kind of catch up on older stuff. And we will eventually look at these Hotstar and Prime and Netflix things. But for now, it's just kind of nice to try and catch up on the backlist.
We watched Sean recently.
Yeah,
that was
Sean,
great.
wonderful movie.
So good. Yeah, I think it's funny because I think both of us have been, like, you know, we both have quite successful podcasts, I would say, and I think there's similarities in the fan interaction that you guys have and the fan interaction where we have, where you're thankful that you have listeners and you get feedback, but then it's like also like, oh, why did we get so much feedback? But
well, do you guys get people asking you like, why aren't you watching more South Indian movies? They're better. Like, have you looked at the name of the podcast?
I mean, our podcast is called Khandaan Podcast, so
But we
I know.
But
Ours
we
is called
get, like,
Bollywood is for Lovers, and people are always like, why aren't you watching more Malayalam, Simin? Like, again, look at the name. Sorry.
We get people who get mad that we're only watching like Khan movies. They're just like, but why? Why are you only
the point.
watching it? And we're like, because it's
That's literally
our
the idea of your
podcast.
show.
People get really entitled for some reason, and it's just like it's like they can't hear themselves when they say things, and you're just like, if you hate it so much, then why do you listen?
Exactly. I tell people, like, look, there is obviously a huge appetite for South Indian cinema. Please make more podcasts about it. There's that one, the banana something. What is that?
The
one
Other
called?
Banana.
The Other
The Other
Banana.
Banana,
I believe
yeah.
they do South Indian
Yeah.
films. But, like, there's obviously a huge interest. There should be more podcasts about it. But we're not going to do it. We're busy.
I mean, we do appreciate when our listeners recommend good South Indian films for us to watch, because we do watch South Indian films. We just don't cover them on the show.
That is kind of an interesting one, because I feel like out of all of us, I get educated a lot. Like, people try to educate me a lot. I don't think Amrita and Sujoy get it that much. Like, I get like, people feel like I'm like, and you guys are also getting it. Like, people feel they should be educating you with giving you recommendations as well. Why is that? Like, why? Like,
we're like
living this-
clay that could be molded, you know? They
Well-
look at us and they were like, I could teach them. I could fix them.
One of the easy answers for us is
We're white people,
'Cause we're
too. That's the other
white.
thing.
am I a white person too? Then, like,
I don't think so, but
That
for
one,
us,
I cannot explain that on your end, no.
Asim, you got kind of accused of being a coconut, didn't you, the other day?
Just last week I got called a coconut, which is fine. I think coconuts are sweet. I like coconuts. But
As far as I'm concerned, I think the reason people don't say anything to me is because I'm a bitch and I don't hide it. I'm like, if you come at me sideways, I'm not gonna like sit around for that nonsense. So,
Amrita might
better.
come down to your house and John Wick your ass. You know, like, it might be like that. Might be
like
the
I am extremely happy with my block button, and I will use it literally the first time that you come at me with that entitled nonsense. Like,
But
I don't need that.
why does Sujoy not get it? That's also one of my.
I live a very zen life. Like, I don't at all engage, you know. You come at
sounds
me
nice.
with any sort of unwanted comment, I just ignore. Like, I won't even engage with it. So,
Sujoy gets, contacted by like directors and writers and everyone saying, "Hi Sujoy, I listened to the episode. You did such a good job." And then Sujoy comes and tells us about it. Whereas we toil in the mines and get pelted with stones.
I've had to block a lot of conspiracy theorists lately, so this is disconcerting about Sushant Singh Rajput and all this stuff. Like, there's so much kind of... I think people want that to not be the story that it is.
Yeah.
And people ask us, like, hey, can you talk about this? Like, no, we are definitely not going to get into this one.
in the Q&A episode, we had a question about nepotism, and I think we answered it as best we could, but it certainly felt very loaded. And I don't think the listener asking the question, I think they were curious on our take on it. I don't think they meant it to be loaded, but
Yeah, they didn't want us to come out and say,
that
such
was
and such person is part of the nepotism mafia or whatever.
that was a hard one. I will say, I think with all the South Indian recommendations and the requests to talk more about those films, I do think they're coming from a good place. I think
They just want people to watch their great movies.
Yeah, they want to share these movies and they want to know what we think about them, and I totally understand that. And and we're willing to talk about the South Indian films that we've seen and what we've liked, kind of on Twitter. But for the podcast, it's very focused on Hindi language cinema.
I think I probably did talk a little bit too much about Bahubali and maybe Angamali Diaries, because those were like my favorite movies of those years of anything I saw.
Right.
And it was like, I did like those better than every Hindi movie I watched, so I did talk about them, but maybe that gave people the wrong impression. Angelica too as well, I probably went off on that for a while.
What I find a lot of times happen to me is when when I tell people like I've watched a South Indian movie, immediately they will say, "Oh no, you shouldn't have watched that one. That was not a good one. You should watch this one." I was like, "Wait, what am I like? I don't know. I'm just like trying out whatever's available, you know." So that I get a lot. But again, I just want to say, like, you know, I appreciate the feedback. I don't, and same with you guys, like Matt and Erin. We appreciate like hearing back, but I don't want this to become like a bitch fest on our fan and listeners or anything like that.
No, I think like at its best, what it's done is that it's just introduced me to a whole bunch of people that I wouldn't have known if it hadn't been for the podcast. Yeah. And I think that's really great, you know, like people who really love the movies just as much as we do, and who come and have like really interesting conversations, and sometimes they'll give us like things that we didn't know, you know, like random bits of trivia. There's like a lot of people out there who like have such encyclopedic knowledge about the movies that we watch. And things that you can't even find online, you know, like things that you had to be there and like live through the experience to even know. And they'll come and they'll, you know, find us online and they'll tell us stuff. And it's always great to like hear from them, because it's people just displaying their passion for something and their love for something. And that's always lovely, and it's attractive, and it's great to hear. It's just when people try, like what you were saying with the Sushant Singh Rajput thing, you know, people are just like, I hate this thing, won't you join me in my hate? I think that's what's really upsetting and just enraging.
We're so far divorced from like that whole thing that we really just don't want to step in it at all. Like we thought he was a great actor. I've loved most of the movies I've seen him in, honestly. He had a great run, but you know, talking about someone's mental health when you don't know them and some supposed conspiracy, like, nope, not getting anywhere near that.
And I think we really want our podcast to be a positive space.
Yeah.
That's really important to us. You know, even when we hate a movie, we still want it to be, you know, a positive experience for us to create the podcast and a positive experience for our listeners. I try and remind myself any movie I'm discussing could be someone's favorite movie. Yeah. So even if I hate it, I try not to make fun of things too much.
It's like you know, we might not like a movie, but the people who like it are not idiots. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Apart from Kabir Singh, sorry, I had to get that in.
Oh God, yes. So you know, I don't want to be pulled into a lot of these controversies and these negative things, and I will say, like, we have such great listeners who I think are so supportive of us. You know, when the podcast started to take off, because it initially just started as this thing that we were interested in doing because we were interested in Bollywood.
We wanted an excuse to watch more of it.
Yeah, and we wanted to encourage more people like us, kind of, you know, like fans of world cinema and Asian cinema who weren't South Asian to watch these movies. And then when it took off and we started to have a lot of South Asian listeners, I started to get very self-conscious, you know, as someone who doesn't necessarily know always what, you know, these titles mean or how to pronounce these actors' names, and doesn't have the cultural context, but I like the movies. And I got very self-conscious about what people were thinking about me and et cetera. And it really was the listeners and just their constant positive feedback and telling us to watch more movies and encouraging us that really kind of, I think, kept me going. Yeah. and now I worry less about it. I still try and be conscious of my space as a white person discussing South Asian culture.
Yeah, we always say, like, we know that these movies aren't for us, but we could still appreciate them from afar, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't get, especially when they're just listening or they haven't like created anything. It's the amount of like love and care and interest that goes into even making like one episode, much less something that's been going on for like 5 years in your case. I mean, unless you were like super interested and absorbed by what it is that you're doing, you simply can't devote that kind of time and attention to something. And I think like that kind of passes by a lot of people.
And are there like topics for you guys that you feel you're not touching that with a 10 feet pole, like for example the nepotism debate or you know?
We were actually going to do an episode on nepotism years ago when when Sridevi's daughter, her name has like just fallen out of my head. I'm embarrassed. Janvi, thank you. And Janvi Kapoor and Ishan Qatar, when their film was coming out, we had talked about doing an episode on just like star kids, like the films that failed, because there are many of them. And I thought that would be an interesting episode to discuss, like maybe why some of the star kids, really have succeeded, and these other ones and these other films didn't. And then I just decided that no, it wasn't really a space. Like I didn't think that we could do the episode in a way that felt genuine, in a way where it didn't feel mean, and so we abandoned that episode idea. And now I'm really glad we did.
Yeah. We also try not to talk about caste issues and religious stuff a lot of the time, because that's a space that we have no idea what we're talking about, and we don't want to offend anyone by saying something really stupid.
Well, unless it comes up in the film. Like, you were shocked to discover that that backwards caste is an actual
That's like
term
the
in
government
India.
term, and I thought that was like a translation thing in the subtitles, but that was the movie Arakshan with Saif Ali Khan and Manoj Bajpayee, right? I think he's like the evil
and
teacher.
Amitabh Bachchan.
And Amitabh Bachchan is
And
headmaster.
Ajay Devgan as well.
Yeah, like that was. I didn't really like that movie, but it was really interesting because I was trying to put myself into what would happen in Canada if, for instance, Indigenous people were given, well, not given, but like if it was mandated that 30% of all government jobs were going to Indigenous people, like people would lose their shit here. Like Canada, that's something we have here too. It's just not something that we advertise a lot, but like those sort of like class differences and race differences, they're here as well. So I was trying to put myself in the mind of that, but really delving into that is definitely not something that we're equipped to do.
Do we have Amrita Sujoy? Are there any topics that we don't touch? Like, I was also listening like what Erin was saying about keeping things positive, and I was like, man, that is such a good way of thinking about things. We should really start implementing that on our end.
Lessons learned on this episode after such a long time. No, we go all in.
I know there's a few topics that I like sometimes don't get into that much, because I think with India, Pakistan, and like Muslims and Hindus, sometimes it might be a bit sensitive. So I know that even I sometimes filter myself, where I could go a bit further, which I don't. Otherwise, I don't talk. Again, like Matt mentioned, I don't know anything that much about caste except what comes out in movies. So, and a lot of times I'm even shocked when I see it that these things go far. But otherwise, I don't think we've not.
I think I filter myself a little bit because I don't want this to be like a political podcast. I don't, because I have like very strong progressive values, and I talk about it all the time on my Twitter, and I don't think I hide it. I think like it's pretty evident in the things that I say on the podcast, and like you said, like we do mention stuff like that, but I think there's always a sense that this is a film podcast, and we are talking about it in terms of the film, and we are talking like there's obviously films are part of society and they reflect societal values, and we do touch upon that, like when we talk about like Rohit Shetty films and stuff like that. But I don't think I don't allow myself to go as far as I usually would if, like, say we were all just hanging out and talking about like, oh, did you see this piece of shit? Like, what was that about? Like, I could really go in, but I don't do that. So I do keep that in mind that, we're talking about the film and we should sort of stay within that boundary. But I don't think anything is, well, but, that's the difference, right? Like, I'm talking about something that's about my culture, so why would I censor myself that way?
Yeah, we didn't hold back calling Dabong fascist.
Neither did we.
The idea of super cops is really interesting to think about, especially in this era of increased attention towards police brutality. And we could talk about that a little bit with the Doom series, but the Dabong movies especially, like, he's legitimately just doing crimes all the time and then blaming other people for them. It's like, holy shit. Like, that is the definition of like a cop who is exceeding their grasp, really.
I think also there's a pretty much within 5-10 minutes of listening to your podcast or our podcast, you can pretty much make out that we're all, liberal, woke, snowflakes, all like which side we're on is quite clear for everybody. So I think otherwise also we'll be asking people to pay for the podcast, which we don't do, none of us. So I guess that's another thing that we're not, right-wing leading capitalists. So this is all free for you guys.
I just wouldn't want to be used as a political crutch for somebody, Like, I don't want someone from a political party to say, like, look at these, these people, they agree with us. Like, no, we're not even in your country, bro. Like, I don't think I would agree with your government, to tell you the truth, but I don't really want to talk about that in the movie show.
Yeah, and I remember once I made a passing reference that we didn't feel like talking about Anupam Kher at the moment.
People asked us about that. Like, what's wrong with Anupam? Like,
because of his political involvement in India and how we felt about it. And we didn't get into it, but we got asked about it later. Like, oh, why did you guys say you weren't interested in talking about Anupam Kher at the moment? And I had to explain.
He's just everyone's uncle. There's nothing wrong with that guy.
I like him as an actor, but yeah.
Some of the stuff he talks about.
Some of the politics. That's different.
Yeah. I think there's definitely also actors that we don't talk about that much on the podcast just because they've become like a certain type of, character in real life. Like, I don't think
Vivek Oberoi?
Sorry?
Vivek Oberoi?
Yeah, Vivek Oberoi, I guess
Why would we
only
talk
when
about
we make fun
anyway?
of him, and I specifically. But like, I'm thinking Khandaan Ranaut. Have we actually reviewed any movies of her lately? Or like Anupam Kher, we've not talked about that much. Paresh Rawal, we've not talked about that much. Like, I think that we've kind of avoided as much as we can those kind of things.
Because I don't think avoiding is a problem with them, though. Like,
has Khandaan Ranaut been in that many movies with the Khans?
No.
I can't think of any.
No, she hasn't.
She's kind of out of the scope of your podcast anyway.
Yeah. But also we don't, like, we would review a movie if we watched it, like in our word, but we don't. It's hard to even have that discussion. Their personalities have become so big in a way, the political personalities, that it overshadows their movies. So even if you do watch, I think you watched, Sujoy, you watched Mental Hai Kya, I remember, right? That was probably the last one I can even remember.
No, I think I watched Panga as well, and I quite liked that movie.
We also like Panga.
Yeah. Panga's quite good. Yeah, but
just have to forget who is playing the main character.
And it's so frustrating because it's like how do you recommend Queen to anyone these days?
Yeah.
Such a loaded movie now.
Yeah, and Film Companion invited me to contribute to a larger article about non-South Asian Indian film critics. What film they would show to someone who's never seen an Indian film to get them interested in it. And I picked Om Shanti Om because I'm a big Farah Khan fan, and I have a lot of reasons for picking that film, and I understand why some people might not think it's a great choice, but I have a lot of reasons as to why I think it's a great choice. And I was criticized a lot for not picking Three Idiots or Queen. People kept recommending both of those films. And I was like, I have very specific reasons why neither of those films would be the first one I would recommend to someone. I think if you get into Indian cinema and you get into Bollywood, you can discover those films. But I don't really want to recommend movies right now that have been made by people accused of sexual assault. And I never said that publicly, like, to any of these criticisms. I just kind of let it go. But I was like, I have very specific reasons for not recommending those movies and recommending those.
Somebody on Twitter tweeted today saying, now that I think about it, I feel happy for Rajkumar Rao for leaving her in Queen.
He's so sweet. I love him. Though he really likes Ayn Rand.
You like what?
Yeah.
He's an Ayn Rand guy?
He said, like, The Fountainhead is his favorite book, I think.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
I didn't need to know that.
I'm sorry. Panga was really good. So we did discuss it in our year-end wrap-up, but Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to give a platform to people who I think are toxic.
I think we could talk about a lot more things, but we're already an hour in. I think I was gonna say, should I even?
It's your podcast. You're the one dictating the flow.
Yeah, no. This is all good. This is all good. I was just looking at it, and I was like, oh wait, should I pivot over to stuff we watch? But I really want to hear what you guys watched, because you said you watched some world premiere for a movie, right?
Yeah, we attended, scare quotes, the Fantasia Film Festival. Are you guys familiar with this festival?
Yep.
I've not heard of it. So this is a genre and Asian film festival that's in, again, scare quotes, Montreal. Okay.
And we've been wanting to go for years, but kind of putting it off. Like, my brother lives in Montreal. We have friends there. There's literally no reason why we shouldn't have done this in the past. But this is the year we decided to do it.
And it's a pretty big festival. They had the premiere of Inglourious Bastards.
Yeah, and Perfect Blue.
Yeah.
So, it has premiered some big stuff in the past. But they are, like all festivals, having to go online this year. So we watched a movie called Kriya by Siddharth Srinivasan. And it is a horror movie kind of about... Let's see, this is one where my lack of knowledge about... sort of Hindu stuff kind of gets in the way. This is a movie where a DJ meets a hot girl at work one day, and she drives him to her house, where they're doing sort of the death rites for her father, and he's kind of...
He thinks he's just in for a hookup.
Yeah, he thought he was just going to sleep with this girl, but he didn't realize that he was actually going to be used in a pawn in some crazy thing, because they're doing, what I imagine is, for Catholics, a black mass, what witches would do, the reverse evil version. They're doing for her father because he's kind of got a demon inside of him, and they're using the DJ to take the demon's soul and put it in his body. So it was a really interesting movie because I'd actually never seen that much of what goes into a Hindu funeral. We see generally the ending.
We have no idea how accurate this is, though.
Well, yeah, but we see at the ending people dressed in white and
they're all dressed in black.
The cremation, but in this they're all dressed in black and they're walking around backwards and doing all kinds of strange stuff. And I think it was probably more of an interesting movie than a good movie. I think the performances were not amazing, but the main girl was good.
The sound design was excellent, and it's actually not an Indian composer. It was a guy named Jim Williams, who's also did Possessor, which is coming out right away here, the Brandon Cronenberg film. And it was produced by some of the producers of In Fabric and Free Fire. So it's kind of it's got one foot in kind of the UK film industry and one in the Indian film industry. It is in Hindi.
Okay.
So it sounded amazing. It looked fantastic. I thought the cinematography was beautiful, but I think it just falls apart a bit in the way that it kind of tries to come together at the end. It doesn't completely come together. It's building a really tense and interesting plot, and then it kind of falls apart, which is a complaint that I have with a lot of horror films. And then I think unfortunately some of the performances really let it down, especially the lead,
Noble Luke, who I don't think we've seen in any other movies.
I think this was his debut.
Yeah.
So
he might actually just be a DJ.
Yeah, there were moments where he felt a bit amateurish.
But Navjot Randhawa, the girl who kind of entices him, she's got this great sort of South Asian goth thing going on. I was like, yes, into her. Put her in more movies, please.
Yeah. So yeah, I think genre fans will find interesting things, and it's very much an independent film.
They said they shot it in 10 days.
Yeah, and there was a lot of male frontal nudity.
Yeah, that was
which is always interesting to see in an Indian film.
Never seen in a Hindi movie before.
In a Hindi film before? No, I guess not.
Yeah.
I guess I can't think of any dongs in Hindi films. I can think of dongs in Bengali films.
Yeah, Bengali you can't watch one without seeing a ton of.
Wait, there's full on dong?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. 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 So it was good. We enjoyed it, and I think if you're a fan of interesting horror films, I would encourage people to seek it out. I don't know where it will be available after Fantasia. Like we said, it was the world premiere. But I don't know, if you're not interested in horror, I don't think there's much here for you.
Yeah, definitely don't watch it if you're not a horror person.
Yeah.
Like
Is it like straight up horror, or is it like horror comedy?
It's straight up horror. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's maybe like one joke in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like horror suspense, but it's not comedic, no.
No, it's not like Stree or something. It's it's kind of slow too. It's more like, this is a very creepy situation. Get out of there, but he can't, because it's got like a nightmare logic to it.
Definitely independent.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, from the DJ's perspective, it's his like worst Tinder date ever.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. He was like, this is great. You know, she's super hot. Going to her house. Nothing bad's going to happen to me there. Uh-oh.
Gotta die now.
Yeah.
Sujoy, you need to update your Tinder profile, man. This is the kind of shit you can get into if you're really into it, you know?
Just got a DJ like Bobby Deol now.
Yeah. I really do.
You can say you're available for performances at home.
I really do like that this family like trolls DJs.
Yeah, that their main like source of getting guys into their thing is DJ.
I really do like that they were like, you know who like the world could be spared? DJs. EDM DJs.
Yeah.
My brother's a DJ. I shouldn't be so mean.
Yeah.
Great. That sounds good. So that's Kriya, and it's not really available at the moment, right? So maybe...
Yes.
No.
And if
Unfortunately, we can't direct people to it, even if they wanted to.
Actually, I was gonna this is a good question. Like, if it would land up in a streaming service, which one do you think it would land up? Like Mubi, or is it more like a Netflix thing, or is it more like a Prime thing?
That's so hard to say because like Gandu is on Netflix. But I guess yes, it would be more of a Mubi choice.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Or maybe Shudder. I don't know.
Shudder.
Oh yeah, Shudder.
If you guys have got that one over there, that's
Shudder's
it could end up on that. Yeah, it could maybe that.
Okay.
But again, like Tumbad is available on Prime, so who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to watching that one. We haven't watched Tumbad and Bulbul, but we're going to do those on the Halloween episode this year because, sidebar, I would like to see a lot better Hindi horror movies. It's a department that I have never been impressed by a lot.
Well, Stree is good. But
Stree
again,
is good, but it's more of a comedy.
Well, like,
and NH10 is good.
You were saying about the
NH10.
music of Kriya, right? Like Tumbar has some of the best music production, and it's done by the guy who's done Assassin's Creed and Borderlands. His name is I think Jesper or something, Jesper Kidd. He's done Borderlands and Assassin's Creed's music, and he's done the music for Tumbar. It really is very, very ambient. It's amazing.
Well, like, music is such an important part of the horror experience.
Yeah.
Like, think of the Halloween movies, the kind of Michael Myers theme song, or Friday the 13th. Like, Suspiria. Like, that sort of background music is kind of what gets you into the mood to be scared. And I find that a lot of Hindi horror movies try to do the typical, like, here's our falling in love song, here's that kind of thing. And it really takes me out of the moment for getting scared. Boot, the ghost ship. That movie starts off with like a wedding song. I'm like, dude, I was ready for Ghost Ship, and I don't need to see this.
Oh, Boot.
I mean, not to be that
Ghost Ship Part
person,
1.
but like if you're interested in like Indian horror, then I do have a South Indian, well, I have like two, like the guy that made Angamali Diaries, he also made like a new one.
Jallikattu?
Yes,
Jallikattu?
Jallikattu.
Yeah, we've seen it.
Awesome. Love that movie.
Yeah.
And also, there's like an older one. I think the Other Banana podcast is going to do an episode on it pretty soon, but it's called Arundhati, and it has Anushka Shetty, who was in Bahubali.
Oh, she's great. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it just rips off like a whole bunch of movies, but it does such a great job as a pastiche. And there are like a bunch of like it taps into very specific tribal folklore and stuff, and it does like a really good job of it, I think. If you were into Bahubali, then I think you might be into Arundhati, especially if you like horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm into that. I for a South Indian one, I really like The House Next Door. I thought that was quite good.
Which we did do on the podcast. We bent the rules.
Yeah,
just
we
for you.
listened to the Hindi track, like the audio track, and then called that a Hindi horror movie. But it was a really good one.
Is that the Siddharth movie, right?
Wanted to watch this movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's kind of like an Exorcist riff. It was great.
It sounds good. So that's Kriya. It's not available yet. I think let's keep it in the South Indian zone because people seem to love that. I watched See You Soon. Has anybody seen that yet?
No.
No, but I will this. I think tomorrow my mom and I are gonna watch it.
Okay.
You're gonna see it soon. Okay.
It's streaming on Prime now. This whole movie was shot like in lockdown. And I was kind of like listening to the film companion interviews and things like that. So they apparently Fahad Fasil, that's how you pronounce his name, right? Fahad Fasil? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He rented out like 6 floors on his building and everybody was just living there. And that's how they basically shot it, which is insane to do. But it's really good. I really enjoyed it. And it's about this guy, Jimmy, who meets... he's like on Tinder, Sujoy style, and he meets he meets this girl Anu, and they started kind of like dating, and then he wants to get married to her, and he asks his cousin Kevin, who's played with by Fahad Fasil, to kind of check up on her. And it's all shot in this, you basically just see the screen, the laptop screen or the WhatsApp screen and the messages they're sending. So very much like Searching, that movie that came out a couple of years ago, or actually last year, I think. Again, time has no meaning. No, 2018, so it has been 2 years. But it's really, really good. It kind of uses that template, but then adds to it like more emotion to it and more kind of like a few more like I don't want to spoil anything, but it has more like impact, and when you think it's going one way, it kind of like does a flip on you. Not to say that it's a twist or anything like that, but it adds kind of more layers to it. So it's on Prime, so I think people check it out. It's a really good one. And what I've noticed is like this is my third movie watching with Fahad Fasil in it. Like he's like I don't want to like lower his importance or anything like that, but for me, like, you know, masala Bollywood watcher, he's like almost like Amir Khan. Like if I see his face, I'm just gonna watch it because it's probably gonna be good. So and like I'm going back and I'm gonna watch Trans and a few other movies that I saw on Prime, and it's really cool that Prime has those movies out and they're available with good prints and subtitles. So I'm definitely gonna be checking out a few more. Amrita, I'm sure you have something to say about that statement.
No, I think his fans probably really are into that comparison because they probably think he's better than Amir, to be honest. But
of course they do.
I will watch anything with him in it.
Yeah.
I tend to kind of seek his stuff out because I find it usually some of the better Malayalam stuff. At least that I've seen. I did find Trance a little uneven, but I am looking forward to seeing this one because I've been such a fan of so many of his other films. And I mean, even though I say Trance is a little uneven, he's still great in it.
And Fahad Fasil has that he has that quality where you think he's physically bigger than he is. You know what I mean? Like he has like such a towering presence on screen sometimes, like in the few movies I've seen, and also sometimes a kind of a very toxic masculine vibe to him. But then you see him in interviews or even like in certain shots in See You Soon. I was like, dude, I could break you in half like physically. But he also scares me, so it's like kind of a weird vibe that he has. So it's just interesting. But yeah, I would recommend that. I think, Amrita, you're going to have a good time watching that one. Let us know what you think. The other movie, and this is kind of like, I also watched this. I'm just talking about this quickly because people asked me what I thought about this, and I think it kind of segues us into Dhoom 3 afterwards. I watched VIKRAM VEDHA, a movie I wanted to watch for a very, very long time. Has anybody seen this movie?
No. It's that Madhavan movie, right?
It has Madhavan in it. Amrita, have you seen it?
No, I keep meaning to and I never do.
Yeah. So the other guy that like with Super Deluxe I kind of got to know was Vijay Sethupathi. With again, I don't know, I didn't know this guy, but he kind of like stood out for me in Super Deluxe, and I like Madhavan, and I'd heard about this movie because it's apparently getting remade in Bollywood. And supposedly, allegedly, Amir Khan and Saif Ali Khan will be playing these roles, which I just thought was very, very interesting. And I'd heard a lot about it, and it was on Z5, which we still have a couple of months of free viewership. Thank you, Z5, for giving us the free viewership. But even though a lot of your movies aren't working, but hey, Vikram Vedha was working. I was happy for that, and I really loved it. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of like a very like cop against. It has a like bit of a Rashomon, kind of like a bit of a Usual Suspects vibe to it, like, you know, flipping the narrative and seeing it from the other side, and then how the story changes. I do kind of feel it was very much heavy on Vijay Sethupathi instead of Madhavan. So if you're kind of like a huge Madhavan fan, there's not that much in it for you, I feel. But it's interesting, but I don't know how they're going to remake this into Bollywood. It seems like a very like South Indian kind of vibe in it. And I think if they want to adapt this to a Hindi audience, they really need to make some changes. And I also don't understand who would be playing who. I think Saif Ali Khan would be playing the cop's role, which is Madhavan, because Amir Khan wants to be like, you know, 80% of the movie. Yeah, and like just dominate the screen. And like also in the movie you go back in like when Vijay Sethupathi is younger and then he's older, and I think that might be Amir's vibe, you know, he likes to like change his body and change his appearance. So I think that might be the roles they're playing. But I know that in a recent interview Saif Ali Khan was saying that it's still on, so might be interesting.
What was the last time when Amir and Saif did a movie together? Was it like Parampara maybe?
Might be Parampara, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
No. What are you talking about?
Dil Chahta Hai.
Oh dear, completely forgot.
Yeah.
Parampara.
Yeah, we went way back.
We just watched Dil Chahta Hai not too long ago.
Yeah.
And you tore it apart.
I didn't tear it apart. I just thought, I don't know.
It didn't live up to the hype.
Yeah, we watched it after all the imitators, so it was like, oh, I like Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara better.
I guess that might be one of those movies that it has so much hype in it, right? Like people, and if you've not seen it then and you coming to it now, I can understand where you're coming from. Shall we move on to Dhoom 3? Amrita, unless you watch something,
I was
you want
born
to
ready, man. I'm ready.
No, I'm still watching like Turkish dramas.
Oh yeah.
You're watching what? Turkish
They're
dramas?
super popular.
I read a whole book about that, actually, Turkish dramas. It was by Fatima Bhutto?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called New Kings of the World. It's a movie about Turkish... It's a book about Turkish dramas, Bollywood, and K-pop. And it was quite good, although the K-pop part's really short.
It's just an afterword. Most of it is, like, I would say, like, the biggest chunk is about Bollywood, and then like there's a bit about Turkish dramas, and then there's one chapter on K-pop that doesn't seem to really know that much about K-pop.
But the Turkish drama stuff was fascinating. It was really interesting to learn about that.
Yeah, the Turkish drama stuff's really good.
I got turned on to it by Cardi B, which is like a super random way to have gotten onto it. But now I'm like obsessed. They're like, each of them are like 2 hours long. Like every episode is like 2 hours long, and there's like 50, 60, 120 episodes of them. So it just goes on forever, and I have no idea how they do it. But it's like better produced, slightly better plotted versions of things that we see in South Asia. So I'm super into it.
I would recommend this book if you're both interested in Bollywood and Turkish dramas. It's very good, and she spends a whole day with Shah Rukh Khan and then like writes about the experience of like watching him film a commercial in, I think, Egypt.
And drink like 40 coffees.
Yeah.
How cool is it to be a Bhutto, man? You just can spend a day with Shah Rukh, like
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Amazing.
It's like
amazing.
just ring him up, like, hey, I'm working on a book.
She's also very salty in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's got some pretty good jabs. I think she takes some shots at Amir Khan, I believe.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
does. Yeah, but the stuff about Turkish dramas in the book is also like fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she also like goes to Peru and meets all the Shah Rukh Khan fan clubs in Peru.
Yeah. We can send you a link after. It's a really cool book.
Nice.
And short, too. You can read it in a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Cardi B is amazing. She got me into Bernie Sanders and wet ass pussy too.
Oh, you weren't into that before. Okay.
I was waiting for that one. We were talking about Bhutto. Good. Let's move on to Doom 3, talking about wet ass pussy. Doom 3. So, guys, that is a very odd and random place to end the podcast, but that's the kind of show we are. This was an amazing conversation with Matt and Erin from Bollywood is for Lovers, but it was so long, we kind of split it in half. So the Doom 3 episode will be coming in a few days. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and we'll be back very soon. Thanks for listening.
क्या बोलती